6 whole years. I have personally played since the launch version, all the way back from 1.0, and now we are entering 7.0. It has really got me thinking about how my life has changed ever since then. I'm still unemployed, but we have finally reached 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗆. Before the special program for Genshin 7.0 went live, people were hoping for new quality of life changes to come along with it. I mean, it's a long-awaited region after all. It's not really far-fetched to want a better version of a game you already love, right? The live stream came out, and there were a lot of debates coming out of it, but a lot of people agreed that they were left pretty disappointed with the lack of quality of life changes. That is not to say that there are no quality of life changes at all, just not really meaningful ones. Things like increasing the map pins and artifact inventory can be pretty nice, especially since we are going to farm new sets of artifacts for new characters coming in the new region. And maybe you want to put your pins on locations of chests on the map for exploration. But is that really it? How about the things we have been asking for years? Did the devs just forget? Whether they genuinely forgot or just have a very different idea of what quality of life means, the gap between what we got and what the game actually needs is pretty massive. We're not asking for the moon here, we're just asking for basic standards. And to show you what I mean, I have broken down the key quality of life features that Genshin is long overdue for. I am so serious about this, and I am actually doing it for the love of the game. So to prove this, if over the next year, starting from the posting dates of this video, Genshin implements at least 5 quality of life features mentioned in this video, I am giving away 100 Welkin moons completely for free. All you need to do is like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell icon to keep up with my videos. Without wasting any more of your time, let's get right into it. Starting with the first one is material conversion. This is a problem that most Genshin players who have played for years have, but if you're a new player, you would still benefit from this too. Genshin Impact is a really big open world game, and exploring it will give you great advantages and rewards for your accounts. Those rewards being enemy drops, talent books, weapon ascension materials, and so on. As a new player, those things will help you tremendously throughout your journey into VOT. But as a veteran player, one who has already got tons of characters built and isn't necessarily pulling for every single new 5-star character that gets introduced in newer updates, those materials will pile up, especially early game enemy drops. If the characters you pull later on don't use them, those things will just go to waste. Like for the people watching right now, how many damaged Hilitrol masks do you have? How about slime condensates? Most of you might even have 1,000. And because 𝗖cie𝗽𝗆𝗆𝗆 introduces new enemies to farm for the newer characters, they are just sitting there, useless. Now for this quality of life specifically, we're not even asking for an entirely new system. We're just gonna expand on an already existing system. Genshin has this thing called Dust of Azoth, and this Dust of Azoth is used to change the colors of the elemental gemstones for your character ascensions. We have potential here, right? So let's expand on this and make Dust of Azoth also converts enemy drops, or talents or weapon domain drops. Whatever the method the devs decide to implement here, it will save a ton of resin, save a lot of time when building characters, and it will finally put those useless mats to good use. HSR has already implemented something like this, the Omni Synthesizer. It lets players trade excess materials at a 2-to-1 ratio. Sure, you could argue that maybe Genshin hasn't implemented this yet because region-specific farming forces players to engage with the open world in new areas, but surely a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 conversion tax would keep overworld farming relevant while letting veterans clear out their cluttered inventories. Number 2 is Resin Revamp. One of the most requested quality of life features in this game related to resin is a resin overflow reserve system. Back in 2020, most people were at home, not really having anything to do, and Genshin was a pretty good game to spend time on. 6 years later, there is probably still a big portion staying at home because job hunting isn't really going well, but not all of us are unemployed. Even if it's not about having a life or not, sometimes you just don't feel like playing, and that should be okay. We shouldn't be punished for not logging in every day and doing our dailies, at least not to this extent. I think we're at a point in the game where it'd be most beneficial to introduce a reserve system. When original resin reaches 200, excess energy drains into a backup pool at a reduced rate. The max limits for the reserve could be anything at this point. Just please give us some leeway. Condensed resin could still be used to speed up resin consumption or to finish dailies faster. That system could stay. Both Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero have this feature. I think this might be the most realistic addition for Genshin in future patches, and I'm really hoping for it. Number 3 is weekly boss flexibility. Genshin has given us some good quality of life updates for weekly bosses, like discounting the cost to claim rewards by half up to 3 times in a single week. They also introduced dream solvents into the game so you can change a boss drop to another material from that same specific boss. However, these systems don't solve the very strict weekly lock on weekly boss rewards. After claiming the rewards for a weekly boss, you can still fight them again for whatever reason, but you can't claim the rewards repeatedly. And for your information, to max out a character, claiming weekly boss rewards once is not enough. To max out all 3 talents of a single character to level 10, you need a total of 18 weekly boss materials. Assuming you get the exact material you need every time, an average 3 drops per claim at high world levels, you must claim from the boss at a minimum of 6 times, equals to 6 weeks for a single character, by the way, and that doesn't include the crown, which is way more limited. How do you solve this? By allowing players to claim rewards from the same boss multiple times. Now, if it were unlimited, it wouldn't be called a weekly boss anymore, right? It would just be a boss. But let's say you give it a limit to 3 times a week. That's already pretty good. You can drastically lower the minimum time needed to max out a character from 6 weeks to just 2 weeks, assuming everything goes right in both situations. And you could add all the catches you want, Genshin. I know you like those. You could do something like only giving the resin discounts on the first run of the boss, or you could make us pay double for the 3rd run. Whatever, dude. This quality of life change alone could make the character building process so much better. Since you like money, think about how this would accelerate account progression for newer and returning players who are now incentivized to pull multiple characters from a single patch cycle. Think about it, Genshin. Number 4, pre-farm guide for upcoming characters. Over the last 5 to 6 years playing Genshin, there is one thing that players love to do when they are excited about a character coming in the future, and that is pre-farming. They would see the drip marketing or the announcements in the live stream, and they're just set on building this character, you know, without even knowing if they will win the 50-50 or not. For most of the game's lifespan, more experienced players have deemed pre-farming something very stupid to do. For one, you don't know whether or not you would actually get the character in this gambling anime game, and second, you don't know what the materials are for sure. When a new character is revealed in a version livestream, players currently have to use third-party websites to figure out which boss, talents, and local specialty materials to gather. Pre-farming at its core is based on leaked content, and leaks are unreliable. You could be spending tons of time and resources trying to get materials, but then who knows if the devs will change them on launch day? Nobody really knows. And what if while scrolling through leaks to find out what to pre-farm, you get spoiled on the story for the next patch's content? That would be terrible. But you know what could make pre-farming more player-friendly? If the devs themselves implemented this quality of life in the game. An in-game pre-farm planner inside the Adventurer's Handbook or character menu. Once the livestream airs, or a week before the updates, it would show total required materials and pin map locations for open world gathering. If it's not available yet because the materials are inside a new region, then just make it void. Put a shadow there as a placeholder or something. It's very high player friendliness with literally zero negative impact on the game's economy. It keeps players inside the game client longer instead of alt-tabbing to web browsers. It should be a win-win for the players and the devs here. Number 5 is auto-looting. I am surprised that this hasn't been implemented in the game yet after almost 6 years of its lifespan. The fact that something this basic is missing proves how Genshin is still very behind in terms of quality of life. When you kill an enemy, they drop materials looking like balls with colored lights on the ground. In 1.0, this was fine, because truthfully speaking, I hadn't been exposed to that many games yet. But 6 years later, the game still does this. Why? For small amounts of enemies, sure, you won't feel the difference. But for a large group of mobs in the overworld scattering on high elevations or at water, like if an enemy falls off a cliff, you expect me to follow them and fall as well? Pick up the drops and come back up the cliff? Hell no! I mean, they did this with rewards rewards from domains back in the launch era. Instead of collecting rewards off the ground, they will go straight into your inventory. Why can't they do this with chest or with enemy drops as well? It really is just the little things that pile up and increase annoyance. And oh my god, if you want to attach lore to it for some unknown reason, because I just know some of you will get defensive and shout out that there are lore reasons, and Genshin is doing this for immersion. Just make Paimon pick it up, or just have some gadget equipped that could pick everything up in one click for some radius. Those are extra steps for something you could just do automatically, right? But at this point, I would take anything. It's literally better than nothing. Number 6, playability of past or expired events. Most people who want this will argue that past events contain crucial lore, like Albedo's origins, or Scaramouche's plot in Unreconciled Stars, or Lantern Rite stories. Those are always good. New players are missing out on major story developments, and while I agree with that, I feel like Genshin should also leave the minigames available to play permanently. The Wind Trace games, the paint shooting game, or the 6th or 7th Fontaine camera event. Imagine being a new player, seeing people talk about past events and their favorite leisure games, and you're just locked out of them forever. I mean, that would be sad. And on top of it all, they missed out on the Primo Gems. How about you put those events in a separate tab? If you don't want to give the players as many Primo Gems because you still want the FOMO mechanic, then sure, you can give them half of the rewards. Just make it an option for it to be there. Let them experience the fun of your past creations, Genshin. HSR implemented this exact feature with its conventional memoir system. And I get it. In Genshin, mobile storage size was historically the biggest constraint. Players who have played through the events would probably be against this because they don't want unnecessary storage load. But with the quality of life updates they have introduced, where you can clear up some data for specific regions and quests that you've already done, an optional downloadable events module is very doable for the developers. I don't doubt it even a little bit. They can implement this easily. Number 7, customized 50/50 loss pool. This is a quality of life feature that got introduced a while ago in Honkai Star Rail, and I just thought that no other game would be more perfect to implement this than Genshin Impact, a game with a lot of characters, around 58 of whom are limited 5-star characters. For those who haven't played HSR before and have no idea what this gacha mechanic is, basically, you have a set of characters you can choose from as characters you would get when you lose the 50/50. Your loss pool has to have 7 characters. Originally, they were only standard characters, and now you can customize your loss pool. The options include 7 standard characters plus a handful of limited characters, and you can choose which 7 characters you are able to lose to. You can basically remove characters like Diluc and Keqing and add limited characters, usually older ones. Examples are like Albedo or Ganyu, maybe even the newly buffed Yaemiko. It could fit the mold. Number 8. These are quality of life changes the players have asked for a very long time, and a lot of people agree on these, and they have talked about it a lot, so I'm just going to go through it really quickly. Players should be able to farm all materials in domains any day of the week, because right now, weapon ascension and talent leveling domains remain time-gated to specific days of the week. And I know Sundays they are all open, and recently for a week of each banner cycle, but seriously, there is no reason not to just have it that way all the time. We also want a loadout system, a real loadout system, one that is far easier to understand than their current fast auto preset system or whatever it's called. Artifact loadouts are hugely important right now, more than ever, especially with units like Odette, Sandrone, and the very broken Cryo MC, hello? All wanting multiple builds depending on the situation. Right now, you still cannot save custom artifacts and weapon presets for individual characters. Dialogue skip button. Please, for the love of God, just implement it. There is no global skip button for the quest dialogue, world quest, or event cutscenes. They added a quality of life feature recently where you can skip scenes and go right into the next line. But that is not what we have been asking for. Every game nowadays has a skip button. Even the narratively best games, like Clair Obscure Expedition 33, have skip buttons, by the way. It couldn't be that hard to understand. And that is a lot more. But I just want to talk about a glaring issue, the mammoth in the room. As nonsensical as it seems, there are actual people out there defending the lack of quality of life updates by saying that the devs usually do big batches of quality of life updates during their anniversary. And that if you don't know that, you are a LARPer who doesn't play the game, and you're just doom posting, and you're agenda pushing, because rent is due. Now here's the sane question, right? Why would good quality of life updates be limited to anniversary patches? Shouldn't they be happening regardless to increase player satisfaction and overall retention? I mean, think about it. You want this quality of life improvement, but you have to wait until next year for it to be implemented. Doesn't that sound dumb? Most of the quality of life changes we want are not even hard to code. It wouldn't even take them a week to code. It is really simple logic. Why would you justify waiting for a year for that? The best part is, after all this time playing, knowing how the devs are, you don't even know if it's a guarantee. You just wait for every anniversary, hoping that they give you that fix you have always wanted. A large portion of players won't wait that long if it really bothers them, you know? So isn't it actually just better for them to implement it? Why are people even defending it? If the devs implemented better quality of life systems, these defenders would be among the people enjoying them too. We are in the same team. We would both win. So why are these people holding us back? It just doesn't make sense to me. If anything, these people are the ones with an agenda to push. Can we all acknowledge that Genshin is not a perfect game? It is not a bad game by any means. It just lacks polish, and it is lacking. It's falling behind. In a world where games come out every couple of weeks with advancements happening right and left, Genshin is still there, stagnating, because these people refuse change. Honestly, sometimes it feels like they prefer crumbs over meals. But at the end of the day, calling for these quality of life updates is not about hating Genshin Impact. Not at all. It is about wanting a game we have invested 6 years of our lives into actually respecting our time. We have watched Hoyoverse implement these exact features seamlessly into HSR and 𝗖𝗍𝗍𝗶𝗵𝗁, while other games with significantly less revenue and audience take care of their player bases much better than the supposed titan of the genre. We know for a fact that they have the resources, the capability, and the blueprints to make it happen. Holding Genshin to those same basic standards shouldn't be called doom posting or agenda pushing. It's caring about the future of the game as we head into 𝗖𝗍𝗍𝗶𝗵𝗁 and beyond. Because if you don't know yet, 𝗖𝗍𝗍𝗶𝗵𝗁 is not the last region of Genshin, and it's definitely not the end of the road. I will be keeping a close eye on every single patch notes over the next year to see if they end up delivering on at least 5 of these points for our Welkin Moon giveaway. But I do want to hear from you guys now. Which of these quality of life features do you think the game needs the most right now? Or is there something else I completely missed? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. This is 𝗖𝗍𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗍, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers!